They in fact used to come and talk to Veena and say that your Raj is stupid. He's gonna lose money. He's gonna end up paying money.
So how much did you raise then?
We raised £250,000.
Damn.
It's a miracle actually.
We started like 100 children of poor widows in all 29 states of India.
Wow.
And that's how we started. That was our first project. We used to give 500 rupees to the mother for the child, and child went to the school. And then after that, we started empowering the mother with the sewing machines, training, give them 3 months training, and then they give them the sewing machine free of cost so they can make their own livelihood.
In African countries where a widow has to marry the younger brother of the deceased husband.
Forced marriages.
There are countries where they have to sleep with the younger brother for 7 days. So this is why in 2005, I thought that we need more awareness of widows' issues. So I launched at the House of Lords International Widows' Day, and I chose the date 23rd of June. That was the day when my mother became widow. We are probably the first and the only global charity focusing on widows. I believe that Gandhi was a philanthropist. He got freedom for us, and he gave us freedom to choose. He gave us freedom to work. That is philanthropy.
That is such a beautiful thought. Hello, I'm Naghma Mulla and welcome to a new episode of Give It a Go. Today I am joined by Lady Veena Loomba and Lord Raj Loomba, partners in building one of the most focused philanthropic efforts around a cause most people overlook: how widows are seen and treated. Lady Loomba has been the driving force on the ground, visiting training centers, meeting beneficiaries face-to-face, and staying deeply connected to the women and families they support. Lord Loomba built a business empire in Britain as an immigrant in the 1960s, then channeled that same determination into advocacy, spending decades pushing for dignity and economic independence for widows globally. This conversation is about how giving becomes a movement, why proximity to the problem matters, and what it takes to create change that compounds over generations. Welcome to this podcast. We are so grateful that in your busy travel, in the middle of that travel, you have taken this time out to speak to us. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks to you more than anything else, because you have come from Mumbai today and traveling to Toronto. So I appreciate your time and doing this
Thank you.
for us. Yes, thank you.
We'll just go back to the start, really, to maybe 1962 when you came as a student from the US to London, and you had immigrant parents, and you basically, you were a young chap who was kind of pulling things together, and with your uncle's help, you had your first foray into business. So can you just take us through what that must have been like?
First of all, my parents were not there. My parent was there. My mother was there. My father wasn't in England when I came to London. My brother was there. My younger sister was there. And this was the reason why I came to England from America, because I just wanted to be closer to my mother. When I left for USA in 1960, I had huge dreams that America is a big country, beautiful country, and everything is much different than India. And I had dreams. To explain this in real terms, I have to say that I lived a life in India which was quite aristocratic, and my brother's life in America was really down to earth. I would say that my brother has been my mentor.
How beautiful.
He brought me to realize the values in life. So I decided that I want to be closer to my mom and my other brother and sister who were in England. So with $100 he gave me to travel by sea, I came to London.
Oh.
Yes,
Hmm.
because that was the cheapest ticket he could buy. And so after about 5 days or 6 days, I don't remember now, I arrived in Southampton. And when I got there, there was a strike. So I had to carry my own baggage out. My brother came to to receive me together with my mother. My brother in London, he was a bus conductor, and he was hardly um, able to support the family and his own family. So I looked for a job, and I got one with an auditor, um, because I was quite good on the maths. That was my...
Math was your thing.
So I was happy I found that job, but that was about £6.50 a week. But that was still a lot of money in those days, but it wasn't something which I was going to accept for life. So my mother had her brother in the north of England, Mr. Satpal Jarrett, and she said to me that, why don't you go and see him and maybe he will help you. And that's what I did. And there was also my auntie Masi in the same town. Brother and sister, they were living together there. And so my auntie said that, Raj, you can stay with us, and you see how my brother can help you. But my uncle said, okay, you have to prove it that you can work hard. So there used to be a company in Liverpool nearby, and it used to be under the name of Canijo Brothers, and they were making ice cream lollies. And they had about 40 odd vans which they would rent out, and they had a freezer in it and all that. As long as you bought the ice cream and lollies from them, they will lend you the van.
Okay, so they would lend the van and you had to buy the lollies from them.
Correct. And pay for that.
Hmm.
So that's what I did. I used to sell ice cream and lollies around afternoon. I'll go to the schools,
God.
and children will come, and I became very well known there, and they were waiting for me, and I was waiting for them. And that went on for about 4 months. And I saved, because my expenses were not there, because auntie looked after me. And so I saved about £400 in those 4 months, which was quite a lot
Quite
of
a lot
money.
of that, yeah, at that
in
time.
1963.
Yeah.
And my uncle was pleased, and he said, okay, we will buy a small van for you. I could actually drive, and that was...
That is how it all started.
Yes.
And at this time, you were not married.
No, I
so
was only 20.
You were 20 years old. So in how many years did then you join him? Like, when did the marriage happen?
1966.
1966. And by then you had a settled business, and
By then, yes, my uncle started with knitwear. And he gave me the knitwear, sweaters. And I brought those. And in those days, I think in the market, there was nobody selling knitwear. So that really made a big difference. I still remember I used to pay him 16 shillings in those days and sell it for 1911. That's 4 shillings on each garment. And whatever stock I had, it would finish in the day.
Incredible.
Yeah, so really it kicked off in a big way.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's in 1966 then. My mother actually said, you should get married. And I said, okay. So I came to India with my mother and with my sister-in-law and their children.
So, ma'am, when you got married, you came from there to London, and it was a new setup, it was a new life. How was that time for you?
Well, it seems that my dad liked him, so we got married. And after I think 1 or 2 weeks, when my visa was made ready, so I came to England with him. But it was a bit of a difference from India to London, and I was a little bit shocked to see where I'm going to live, what I'm going to do. But slowly got adjusted to the atmosphere, to the family, to everything.
Today, a lot of people say that it's difficult to work with a spouse. Okay, how easy or difficult was it for both of you to work together? At that time.
No, it was actually, the thing was, when we had the markets, I was serving the people, the customers, and all that. And he used to go and do the buying and everything. So we were not on top of each other.
Okay,
So we had a space.
got it.
And then also, then from the markets, we opened a shop. And it was the biggest shop in the town we had about 20-30 people working in that shop. So then I started doing the buying myself. Then he started import export. So he was coming to London back and forward, back and forward. I was in witness. And then our children were born. They all went to the school, private school in witness. And thank God, our business flourished. And
Absolutely. Again, the journey of how Loomba Group happened in itself is remarkable. But what we also found, and what was of high interest to me, is you used your, your name and your privilege to actually organize some massive fundraisers with prime ministers, with dignitaries. You've really leveraged everything that you've earned in business to do good.
As they say that, whatever is in your fate, it happens. It's a very interesting story that I'm not a political person even now.
Yes.
So I was not meeting the dignitaries or the politicians or anybody. I was all focused on the business and the family. It was just coincidental that there was some kind of a calamity in India, and the Indian High Commissioner, who was Dr. Alam Singhvi, he was inviting some business people to donate money towards this cause. So what happened actually, my very good friend, Mr. Gulati, he was Air India's general manager in London. He was going to the High Commissioner, and he just took me. He said, Raj, come along. I'm going to the High Commission. And I had never been there before. And over there, they were all donating money. And he asked me, can you give me your visiting card? So I gave him my visiting card, and he put on it 2,100 pounds
Incredible.
and gave the card to Dr. Singhvi. Well, I honored it. I gave that money. And then Dr. Singhvi got in touch with me. He invited me. He wanted to know more about my business. And, this is how it started.
Really?
This is, again, I can't believe it,
How things happen.
how things have
Yeah.
been happening. I got a call from unknown person, and he said that we are organizing an event to celebrate India's Golden Jubilee, and we are thinking of raising 50,000 pounds. And we are looking for 5 people who will give us
10,000
10,000
each.
pounds. Yeah. And I said, if I give 50,000, then what? He again gave me, he said, so I said, okay, I will think about it. I really thought about it properly. I thought, well, I have an experience of organizing an event at Grosvenor House. Let me check with them. And if we do an event there, how much will it cost? So after doing all my work, I went back to Dr. Singhvi. And I said to him that I want to set up a charity in memory of my late mother. So he said he will help me because I wasn't experienced in setting up the charities. I said, okay, I commit that whatever happens, you give me full support and I will need somebody from the royal family. He said, well, you tell me you want Prince of Wales or you want his sister. So I said, obviously, Prince of Wales will be the right person. He said, you take it granted that he will come. So I said, okay, if you can get me Prince of Wales. And in those days, nobody ever had a royal family member to attend to Indian event. So Dr. Singhvi gave me advice. He said, Raj, you set up a steering committee, you chair it, and get your friends in that. So I did that. I set up a steering committee with 15 people. And then Dr. Singhvi also put in that steering committee his own PA so that he can communicate. My two friends in that committee who were very close to me, and they said, well, we have joined you to organize the event, not to raise the money.
No, yeah.
And they, in fact, used to come and talk to Veena and say that your Raj is stupid. He's going to lose money. He's going to end up paying money.
So how much did you raise then in that event?
We raised £250,000.
Damn.
And we had at that event not only Prince of Wales, we had 4 prime ministers.
Oh my God.
We had 4 prime ministers, including Tony Blair, who had just become prime minister, and Sherry Blair.
So all of them came for that
They
event?
all came to that event. To this date, there has not been another event of this status.
Phenomenal. But the journey of your work in philanthropy is one is the way you have leveraged your position to get the right people in the room and raise money for some very, very good causes. The other is also the intense work that you have been focused on with widows in Rwanda, in many, many places, and the way you've galvanized this influence for widows. That's a very, very, and it's a consistent, decades old mission that you have still been going on for. So can we for some time speak about, what made you focus on that? And also, how was that journey like in making the foundation the way it is?
I was only 10 years old when my father passed away. And as soon as my father took his last breath, my mother's destiny changed. After that, I also noticed that how my mother's life changed because she couldn't wear those beautiful saris. She couldn't wear the jewelry which my father bought for her. She had one notion, and that is that I want to educate my children. So my mother ensured that my sisters are also educated. And she just didn't want to see that had children to say that had our father been alive, we would have been educated. So this is where it all started. In India, Vajpayee actually launched our charity and Dr. Singhvi organized that. And then I think it's from...
There it just took off.
It just took off and I never looked back.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Veena ji, you were also involved in this this work. You have also seen, and as women, I mean, I know watching your mother go through something like this is heartbreaking and leaves a big impact. But there are also many women who are going through the same but very, very difficult trials in different ways. Has there been any one such woman you have met, or any such instance that really shook you and made you also feel that this needs to be done?
Yes, I felt that because I have met a few friends and all that, and their mothers were widows, and the situation they were in. I felt that this foundation should flourish, carry on, and we should help the widows. But the poor widows, they have no support from the family, from the society, from anybody, and they needed the help.
For you, what are the 2, 3 things that you keep hearing from them that consistently you see that over years hasn't changed, and this seems to be the pain point even today?
They are still going on. They're improving a little bit, but not much. So we decided to put our own money into the foundation and start it off. And we started like 100 children of poor widows in all 29 states of India.
Wow.
And that's how we started. That was our first project. And we used to give the money to the mother. Their bank accounts were opened. No middleman was involved. So we used to give 500 rupees to the mother for the child, and child went to the school. For 5 years we did that. And by that time the child was grown up and they could support their own mother. And that's how. And then after that, we started empowering the mother with the sewing machines, training, and give them 3 months training, and then they give them the sewing machine free of cost so they can make their own livelihood.
But what also stays remarkably, in everyone's memory is that you also are responsible for having the International Widows Day. You had it launched in 2005, and tell us a little bit about that. How did that happen?
After educating 100 children in every state of India, we decided to empower widows, poor widows, and then during that time, I found out that the problem with widows in India is not, um, is not alone. They are not alone. There are also widows in Africa who suffer actually more than even Indian widows. In India, they are ostracized. And whereas in Africa, African countries, they have traditions and culture totally different. And, there are some awful stories which exist even today. So this is why in 2005, I thought that we need more awareness of widows' issues. So I launched at the House of Lords International Widows Day, and I chose the date 23rd of June. That was the day when my mother became widow. Then for 5 years, I campaigned with the United Nations to adopt this day so that it becomes a universal day. And Mrs. Blair, she is our president, and she really helped us.
Yeah.
In the General Assembly, you have to have votes
Yes.
to adopt a day.
So some serious lobbying.
Yeah. So I was so happy that 23rd of June was adopted by the General Assembly in 2010 unanimously.
Oh, with no opposition.
No opposition at all.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Isn't this fascinating that this grievance or this trauma that widows go through has been going on for centuries?
Yes.
But your foundation and both of you seem to be almost like one of the very, very few people who focus on this and have been focusing on it for decades.
You see, widow loses her husband. That in itself is a a huge loss.
Yes.
And yet the community and the family of a widow don't help her. They ostracize her. They have these traditions and cultural, problems in villages, in rural areas where the 70% of the population exists.
And they're completely ignored.
And they are not educated, they can't get a job, they're dependent on their family person. And what happens? She gets abused socially, physically, and even sexually. And she has nowhere to go. She's living in modern
Modern slavery.
slavery.
Yeah.
We empowered 5,000 widows. We gave them the training, as Veena told you, and then we gave them the sewing machine. To date, we have actually empowered 25,000 widows in the country and in several other countries as well. We are probably the first and the only global charity focusing on widows. A lot of people have asked me to support women issues. Well, I said there are many other organizations who are doing it, but I kept my focus on widows.
No, that's what actually I was admiring with everything that is obvious about how you have gone about it. And your report also says that there are more than 245 million widows in the world, and they have like more than 500 million children. So there is this large
And
stakeholder
not only
group.
that, I mean, if you take their dependent also into count, the number swells more than 1 billion.
Yes.
And that is 1/7 of the planet's population.
So here you are engaging with the final stakeholder, who is the widow who needs your support. You have also pushed for policy shift, for recognition of this problem as a separate problem from women issues as well. You have also been able to bring in your influence and your social wealth, basically, of your network, to come and to put their might behind this. So there's so many incredible pieces and a lot of givers. And I ask this question because givers do generally struggle with which part of the problem they want to. Some people will be very, very intent on policy shift. Some will want to speak on and be with the final stakeholder. But you seem to be going deep with almost everything. And this has its very hopeless moments also, right? When sometimes things don't move, or sometimes things
Well,
just don't happen.
I take things as they come, number one. Number two, I have never asked anybody to help me unless I help them myself. I mean, we set up the charity with a seed money of nearly 200,000 pounds in 1997. Then every year I contribute, or my company contributes, 100,000 pounds, which is over crore rupees, every year since 1997 to date. And so even today we are doing some projects, and we are saying that, if you donate a pound, we will match a pound. So that is one policy which I have maintained.
So basically, if you want people to be generous, you also have to be generous to them.
Correct. And the other thing is, people have criticized, as I said, there are some people that why do I do big events? I have done huge events, actually. We are the first people to celebrate Diwali at the United Nations. And we did it for 2 years. We are the first people to have big, large events where, not only the government, but also the royal family. In 1999, I did an event where Prince of Wales' sister was our chief guest. Princess Anne. Princess Anne. And people have said that, why do you waste money on these events? Well, my answer to them is very simple. Okay, the event cost me about, say, 50,000 pounds. But I raised £250,000 there. Isn't that a good investment?
Plus the awareness also.
plus awareness.
Yeah.
And that's why I have been doing these events forever. As far as the policies are concerned, the government institutions are concerned, I am aware of it that in African countries, uh, even in Kenya, the government has actually taken notice of International Widows Day, and they have changed some policies there. Tanzania has changed some policies. Nigeria has changed some policy. Nepal has also changed some policy. Yeah. And even in India, I have to say that since they knew what we are doing, the pension in certain states has increased for widows. So there is an impact. There is no doubt about it. But I think what we see is like a drop in the ocean. It needs more, because now the number has increased over 300 million widows, according to the UN Women.
Veena ji, how does one ensure that the larger family also gets involved? So the same values with which you are running the company, running the foundation, within the family, with your children, how do you speak about this? How do they know? How do they get exposed? And how do these values move forward?
Well, all our children are involved in it. They're trustees. They're very much interested in it. They support their father, whatever he's doing, and there is no criticism. Our business supports the foundation very well, and we need other people to join hands.
Yes, absolutely. And if you had to share, a message with younger people who are getting into philanthropy, who want to, either give their time or give their wealth, and they're still confused, or they think they have too less money, what would you leave a message to them?
Well, the younger generation, they are not that well off to start with. Maybe they're small jobs, they're learning this and that. But if they have something in their mind that they want to do something for the charities, they can decide which charity they want to support, whether small money, big money, whatever they can do. And as they grow, they can help more. But younger generation is, I think, more inclined to think on those lines.
You think so? So there is hope.
Yes.
And so if you had to leave a message to people who've begun thinking about philanthropy, or who are thinking where to give and how to give, and there's a lot of overthinking that does happen, right? Because every cause is really important. There is no competition.
Yes, I realize that, and I accept that. Every cause is important, and people need to support every cause. The widowhood is a, a niche cause, if you can put it in those words.
Yeah.
Which, as you already realize, that it has never been exposed fully before. So my message to the younger generation, or even to the older generation, would be that do not let a widow suffer more than what she has already suffered. Support her. You don't have to support her with money. You can support her emotionally.
Give some time to them.
Yeah.
So that they can talk to somebody.
Philanthropy doesn't mean that you have to give money or, write checks or transfer cash. It also means that how you care for others. A person who needs care, how you care for her or him. Philanthropy also means. I have said in my speeches before that a lot of people won't agree with me, but I believe that Gandhi was a philanthropist. He got freedom for us, and he gave us freedom to choose. He gave us freedom to work. That is philanthropy.
Yeah. That is such a beautiful thought. Thank you. Yeah, it's going to stay with me for a while. Thank you. Thank you for this beautiful conversation and for everything that you've shared.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for coming over today, as I said before, and thank you. And we had a lovely chat with you in Mumbai, and I will support you in the UK if you need any help over
Thank
there.
you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.